Hey folks, in light of recent events, I think it's time to revisit an old topic, standing up for our medium.
Cool. Hi, I'm Alex. I produce video games. Quick warning, some of the slides late in the presentation depict some transphobic, violent, and sexist content, all of which are screenshots from modern titles. They're in there in order to illustrate a point, so just an FYI.
Now, video games are no stranger to controversy by any means. Like most new media, games have experienced their share of growing pains. We've had them all. Video games cause violent behavior. Video games encourage crime. Video games cause addiction. Video games socially cripple children. Video games cause obesity. This game's a porn simulator. That game's a murder simulator.
These systems work to facilitate male violence against women by turning it into a form of play, something constructed to be amusing and entertaining.
Anita Sarkeesian is not Magneto. And when people say she needs to be stopped, I think that's what people say about Magneto. She's not that. She doesn't have a brother, well, a sisterhood of evil mutants. She ain't gonna take your games away.
Target and Kmart in Australia have both decided that they will no longer restock their shelves with Grand Theft Auto 5.
She doesn't have a brother, well, a sisterhood of evil mutants.
And I'll be damned if we're going to silence you for offering us your personal odyssey, but if you want formalism, you know what isn't a game? This. This is not a game. It is a disc. It is fragile, it is tangible, it is not nearly as invincible as Rockstar would like us to believe.
The Sold Out conference was organised by Silverstring Media's Zoya Street. Since I've been investigating this subject, Silverstring Media have removed their team page from their website, but the internet never forgets. Zoya Street is an advisor to Silverstring, alongside Anita Sarkeesian and Jonathan McIntosh.
Now, I assure you the game is in fact fine. In fact, millions of people are enjoying it right now. But those millions of people, well, they're on their own. Thank you.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
She doesn't have a brother, well, a sisterhood of evil mutants.
Even your mental health. So I just doubled down on doing personal work. Whether I'm doing interviews, criticism, anything, no pretense of being unbiased. I write about the things I'm interested in, the creators I care about, and the trends that I want to see succeed. Sorry, that's the conspiracy. Thank you.
Where is that army? Seriously.
She doesn't have a brother, well, a sisterhood of evil mutants. She ain't gonna take your games away.
Both Target and Kmart stopped selling Grand Theft Auto 5 after 40,000 people signed a petition to take it off its shelves.
I received a number of messages this past week angry at me for Target Australia's decision to not stock Grand Theft Auto 5 anymore. Apparently the logic is that because I once said that Anita Sarkeesian won't take your video games away from you, because she won't, that somehow makes me complicit in the decisions of two corporations in another country.
Now, inevitably, whenever these game mechanics are criticized, some gamers try to dismiss and distance themselves from the issue by insisting that they don't personally partake in the provided options for exploiting virtual women.
These people who so vociferously defend a $250 million technical marvel from a woman looking out for the best interest of others, they are mice that roar, dishonest sacks of hot garbage who should be broken on racks.
She ain't gonna take your games away.
Good times. It's not fun, but it's all part of a medium's journey to respectability. Now, controversy is bound to keep flaring up as games grow, and there's nothing we can really do to prevent that. That's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm going to talk about is what we can do. We can make a difference with the way we react to that controversy when it arises, and frankly, that's an area where we need to improve. The sad truth is that game makers aren't weighed on the merits of their work. They're judged by the name of their medium.
Now, the reason why they did that is because of the way that women are depicted in the video game, and understandably, a bunch of gamers disagreed with that decision, especially because it's hypocritical for the retailers to single out one game for its violent content. People who are upset by this ban are now responding to it with satirical petitions on change.org that are pretty amusing. So let me read them to you. The petition, posted December 4th on change.org, has attracted nearly 20,000 signatures. In an obvious parody of arguments in favor of banning video games, the petition claims the Bible, which they're trying to ban, encourages readers to murder women for entertainment by committing sexual violence against women, then abuse and kill them to proceed or get God points. It calls on Australian retailers, including Target, to pull the Bible from their shelves.
That is an awesome petition. Because you literally cannot argue with it. It is in the Bible.
When controversy arises, our opposers don't look at a game studio and see a team of artists. They see a team of toy makers who have gone too far, like a branch of Mattel gone rogue. That the industry is viewed this way is pretty shameful, but perhaps even more shameful is how rarely we stand up for the work we do. Let me give you an example.
If you've been following the news, you've probably seen alarming stories about an army of angry and vicious video gamers marching under a banner called Gamergate. Well, according to these reports, this mob will stop at nothing to defend its heteronormative privilege. Well, is this an accurate picture of Gamergate? I'll consider the evidence next on The Factual Feminist. Gamergate is a Twitter hashtag, and it attracts gamers from all over the world, males and females, liberals, conservatives, black, white, straight, gay, trans.
But there has always been one truly unifying force in human history. One call that would always unite you. The emergence of a common enemy.
Some gamers identify with the hashtag because they believe there's too much corruption in gaming. Others are weary of cultural critics who evaluate video games through the prism of gender politics.
Our main objective in this movement is to fight against journalistic corruption in the games industry.
Okay, so talk about that. When you say journalistic corruption, what do you mean?
No pretense of being unbiased. I write about the things I'm interested in, the creators I care about, and the trends that I want to see succeed.
Well, right now, what we're discovering is that these journalists in these video game industries, in the video game industry, what they're doing is they're being very unprofessional and being very unethical in the sense that they are participating in conflicts of interest, they are hiding unethical conduct, they are not being the voice for the voiceless, which is us, the consumers. And we've discovered this more and more, and it...
Journalistic impartiality. Let's be perfectly clear. Impartiality is bullshit. You can't control how you feel. Only how you choose to externalize your feelings. And that's what we're so desperately trying to control. I'm a AAA producer. That's where I live. I've seen the emails come down about E3 demos and press junkets, and I'm line level in a producer pit, so chances are I'm the one booking your flights and your bar tabs and spa treatments and catering and rooms full of HD TVs and Alienwares and Razer keyboards with neon fucking undercarriages. And none of these are about the game. We're plying you with payola. We're not just expecting you to not be impartial, we're fucking banking on it.
The real issue is that we have a terrible problem with nepotism, with cronyism. The general ethics, we have tenant and landlord, game devs and games journalists, and then writing positive reviews and leading people to come and buy their games. You can't tell me this isn't a major issue. And the inclusion, we just recently had a game released that got glowing reviews from every single games website. But one website that happens to be involved in this collusion docked points because they deemed it incredibly sexist. Now, this kind of thing shouldn't be in an objective review. If you want to talk about feminism in gaming, do it on another platform. But if you're going to give a review of a game, you need to be objective. Your personal ideology is not here. We don't want to know what your personal ideology is.
Now, when Gamergaters protest the politicization of gaming journalism, They're not fighting progress or thwarting feminism. Most of them are probably supporters of mainstream equality feminism. They are pushing back on a hardline, puritanical gender politics that for some reason many of their critics are imposing on them.
Earlier I got into an argument with someone who tried to tell me that I'm in fact a feminist and that the only reason why I don't identify as such is because I think feminism is a dirty word. Technically it's not, because the dictionary definition of feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men, which is something I definitely agree with, but modern feminism goes much further. Patriarchy! Patriarchy! That's patriarchy! Patriarchy! Patriarchy!
Patriarchy, fuckface!
And I'm kind of sick of hearing that. Yes, there's an unfair representation of men in politics now, but I'm hoping that's gonna change soon. Hillary Clinton. But a lot of feminists like to use that word for every damn thing. He held my door open for me. Like I can't do it myself. Patriarchy. He invited me to have coffee in his hotel room. Sexual harassment. Patriarchy. We both engaged in consensual sexual activity. But pregnancy might hurt me, damage me, or kill me. And intercourse is a man using his physical force to penetrate a woman. And sex is therefore intentional violence or harm against women. And intentional sexual harm from a man against a woman through penile penetration is rape. Rape! Patriarchy! Yeah, and unfortunately that last one was not a joke. That's a serious conversation happening right now.
It's a frightening and disgusting trend in the world of online gaming. Hackers rewriting code to simulate sexual assault.
Online, they can take your character, lock them in place, have made their character pantsless, and then can simulate sexual assault with your character, and you are helpless to stop it.
The graphics are so good, this attack is eerily realistic, but this is virtual rape. Hackers rewriting codes and hijacking online video games like Zombie Apocalypse and Grand Theft Auto. The vile scenes are then posted to YouTube.
That's deplorable and should not be allowed.
Rape! Patriarchy! Yeah, and unfortunately that last one was not a joke. That's a serious conversation happening right now.
You had to know this game would probably stir a little controversy, so why run for cover at the first sign of dissent? By caving in, you validate all of the accusations. You legitimize slander founded in ignorance, and you guarantee a larger outcry the next time you consider a project like this. Don't believe me? Watch this.
Well, there's a lot of controversy over this new video game called 6 Days in Fallujah. Critics are calling the game, which is based on one of the deadliest battles in Iraq, too realistic. For a fair and balanced discussion, I'm joined by the game developer, Peter Tamte, Captain Reed Omohandro, and he led a Marine company in Fallujah and lost 13 men there. He's now an advisor on the game. And Tracy Miller, who's against the game because she lost her son in that battle. Good morning to all three of you. A lot of people see these video games and such that basically, you know, have war involved in them, real life experiences that happened, and sometimes they get kind of a sad reaction to the fact that we would relive this. Why make it into a game?
Well, you know, about only half or so of the young adults that we've surveyed are familiar with the battle for Fallujah. And here we have one of the most historic battles in the history of the country, and most young adults aren't familiar with it.
Captain, are you actually saying, because I know you advised on this project, but are you actually going to say that this is a way to honor the men who died that day?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a way to honor the men that died that day. What I would say, it's more of an honor for the people that fought there.
Tracy, my condolences to you. You lost your son. Very much. You lost your son in this battle. I can never put myself in your position, but explain to me whether or not you think that this game is an honor to your son.
You know, it's complicated. I think that if I were to see it and actually see my son being killed, it would be terrible. On the other hand, if this is a realistic game, I think all of us who have lost children want most for them to be remembered, and so if he's not included, then that would be bothersome also.
I think I read somewhere in the notes that you've lost your funding to actually put this game out to the public. Is that true?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Obviously you knew, though, that you might get some blowback on it because some people lost their children in that battle. Peter Tamte, Captain Omohandro, and Tracy Miller, I'm unfortunately out of time this morning.
You see that? The instant she asks that last question, all of his credibility vanishes. These games are not being judged because of their content. They're judged because they are games. Countless filmmakers, novelists, and artists have tackled difficult subjects before and been celebrated for it. Topics like war, genocide, sexuality, hatred. Many of these pieces are critically acclaimed, and rightfully so. They dare to explore humanity's dark side, the ugly realities of the human condition. They venture into uncomfortable territory and find the truth hidden within. This is the stuff art is made of. What is it about games that disqualifies them from exploring this harsh territory? I've heard it argued that we need a rebranding, that we need to take on a new title for this medium, kind of like how comic books had to take on the name graphic novel before they started getting the respect they deserved. And maybe we do. Interactive experiences? No. Simulations? No, that doesn't sound right either. Well, while we're at it, we also need to expand the scope of what we do to include more of the human experience and address a broader set of ideas. But before any of that is going to happen, we need to learn to stand up without fear and embrace what our medium has become and what it has the potential to be. We can't keep marginalizing ourselves by pretending we only craft products for children.
And parents are also being encouraged to pick up a controller and learn the games that your kids are playing and keep consoles and computers in a family room where there's the most supervision.
We are not toy makers. Our work can mean so much more than that. Now, I'm going to quote James word for word here because this is good stuff. This will take real courage from within our industry. It will take the bravery to face critique and the fortitude to weather outcry. It will ask that we expose ourselves to short-term financial risk and that we don't back down from early losses, firm in the knowledge that we are doing right. We will have to be steadfast under the scrutiny of the world and resolute when we are asked to justify ourselves in the court of public opinion. It will ask that, for the moment, we give up ease. But if we can do this, we can do good, real good with our medium. If we do this, we can expand the industry and bring whole new genres within the purview of games. If we do this, we can turn a greater profit while providing more meaningful experiences and reach audiences hitherto unthinkable. If we do this, we can perhaps elevate some small portion of our labor to an art. But if we do this, we will no longer be able to pretend as if what we do doesn't matter. If we do this, we can never go back to the way it was before.
What do you think Gamergate is really about?
It's about a lot of things. What I've found is that it's basically a consumer revolt because gamers have lost confidence that the journalists that represent their community embrace their community.
Then, as if awakened by the arrival of the Covenant, a darker, far more ancient threat emerged from its slumber.
Violent depictions of women being beaten, raped, and run over by cars. It's not the movies, it's video games.
There's a lot of stuff about ethics in journalism and women in gaming and collusion and academic dishonesty and all this other stuff. But at the core, it is a group of people, a subculture, who feels very bullied by society, feels very misunderstood by society, and they don't want history repeating itself within their community.
Darkness born in eons past became a threat to all life once again. And humankind and the Covenant, who had drowned for so long in each other's blood, were united, if only for the briefest moment, against a terrible enemy they both shared.
And it attracts gamers from all over the world, males and females, liberals, conservatives, black, white, straight, gay, trans.
Righteous souls continued to fight, believing that they could defeat the darkness. And as they fought together, they stumbled together into peace.
I am a gamer and I'm proud to call myself one. And I do not respect people saying that I should feel bad about being one. And as a black gamer and the person who started Not Your Shield, I don't want my identity to be used as some kind of marketing push or some kind of instant get out of jail free card for SJWs to use against me. So, my name is Nino, and I am not your shield.
My name is Jess, and I'm no one's shield.
Before you accuse me of being sexist and ignorant, let me remind you that I am a female, I am a feminist, and I am an ethnic minority. I suggest you listen and believe to what I'm saying right now.
from your perspective, what has been either the positive or the negative effects of the so-called gamer?
Of course. It's about ethics in game journalism. It's Total Biscuit, who, on some sense, I love, but here's a guy who's calling out for journalism ethics. He takes huge amounts of money to endorse games, right? Like, if you guys haven't from some of the stuff that they're doing. So, I mean, I think it's worth our time. I think it's done damage to a community. I think it's done damage to reputation of the community. I think it is the last dying screams of people who are losing their power. I've said this before, right? The KKK was at its height. After World War II, the biggest it ever got was in the middle of desegregation. And I think it's a lot of people who thought, for years, saw the internet as their own territory that they could rule by shouting the loudest.